The baby-friendly initiative standards state that all pregnant women should have an opportunity to discuss the importance of connecting with their unborn baby so that a positive relationship begins to develop before birth. In addition to this, opportunities should be provided for them to explore feelings about feeding and caring for their new baby. Too often, care in pregnancy focuses mainly on preparation for the birth, and although this is a significant milestone, it is also the day when a mother and baby begin their lifelong journey together. Experience shows that having time to talk about expectations during pregnancy increases confidence in the days and weeks that follow. These conversations can take place on a one-to-one basis during routine appointments, during opportunistic contacts, or as part of antenatal classes or groups. Providing a range of opportunities will ensure that no one misses out.
Since Bump started to grow, now I've got this lovely football, I've really been able to bond with baby, and I think what's been really special, the further into pregnancy I get, the more my husband's been able to really bond as well, because he can see it moving, he can feel it moving, and I can share those kind of moments with him, and it's really kind of brought us closer together as a couple, and we're just really excited about being parents. Every morning we say good morning to baby, and it's part of our routine now, and I always do like nice breathing exercises before I get out of bed in the morning. Just take 5 minutes, nice breathing exercises, and then picture kind of me with baby and kind of start the day off in a really positive frame of mind.
Evidence suggests that when mothers begin to connect with their unborn baby, stroking their bump, tuning into their movements, and talking, singing or reading to them, levels of oxytocin are increased, and this has a positive effect on baby's growing brain. Even mothers who may be feeling particularly stressed can lower their stress levels by taking time out to connect with their baby. Prolonged elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, can have a negative impact on baby's brain development, resulting in a baby who may be irritable and difficult to soothe. Encouraging pregnant women to think about how they might feed and care for their baby will help prepare them for early motherhood. Remember, a woman does not have to make a decision on her feeding method until after the birth of her baby. The conversation can begin by getting her to think about how she will say hello to her baby when they first meet, and why skin-to-skin contact is the perfect way to calm and comfort them both after the birth. You should also discuss how keeping baby close and responding to their needs whilst getting to know each other in the early days is important and helps form strong, loving bonds. Although most mothers may know that breastfeeding is best, they may not be aware of its true value, so have a conversation about what it might mean for their family. Sensitive, compassionate communication is at the heart of effective antenatal information sharing. Time can be very pressured for busy health professionals, and at times it may be tempting to simply hand out a leaflet rather than talk things through, but meaningful conversations in pregnancy can pay dividends in the postnatal period, saving time and preventing problems from arising. Jackie Syme from Sept Community Health Services will share some ideas on how she helped her staff cover conversations in the antenatal period.
Well, we've been delivering antenatal care as a health visitor for all parents for about 18 months. We found that the staff were very capable and able to explain to us what the standards felt like, sounded like, and how they'd interpreted them. But when we asked the mothers all about their personal experience, it became really clear that there was a bit of a mismatch. So the staff were full up with, I need to get breastfeeding in and I need to talk about it in this particular way. And the mothers were obviously coming from a very different perspective. So we set about a completely different approach to the way that we train staff, and that meant that we needed to go through a whole workshop approach as well as some practical skills review type approaches. We looked at the theory of communication and whether people really understood what happened when you got in a room with someone that you'd never met before, and what would that feel like if you were on the receiving end of that. You know, we talked a little bit. Some of the stuff that we got was from communications training from the Rugby World Cup volunteers. You know, we took it from all sorts of places where we knew that people had really studied communication, not breastfeeding and mothers and the way they wanted to hear it. And so we started off with things like, how long do you think it takes to make an impression on somebody when you meet them for the first time? And so we talked about body language, intonation, how much the words matter, all those theories that everybody learns on courses about, 9% of the whole conversation is just about the words, and actually it's how you interact and how you sound positive and whether your body language is positive. And we talked about what is it really like for somebody to be on the receiving end of you and all your stuff. And at every possible moment, the staff are alert to the fact that this might be an opportunity to talk about baby brain development. This might be an opportunity to bring in about close and loving relationships, or the way that responsive feeding works for babies and mums. We wrote little stories that were about particular mums. One of the mums that really sticks in my mind was the mum who's got 2 children already and has bottle fed them both, and is probably the one that the staff worry about the most, because they anticipate when they get there that she won't want to talk about breastfeeding, they won't want to bring it up. So how will they bring in that without pressurising her to breastfeed, which is everybody's fear? You want to give her enough information to make her wonder and kind of peruse in her own mind afterwards, or with a partner, that might be something I could think about doing. So the skin to skin thing, and the early days, perhaps the early feeds and no more feeds, but just that you have those real conversations about that's all possible and it's all good, and you never know, and you can leave it completely open, and if you can just get to considering that would be for the good.
Within busy midwifery clinics, it can be hard to have long and detailed conversations, but it is important to use every opportunity, such as when carrying out palpation, to share small amounts of information and, where possible, signpost to other sources of information and support, such as local children's centres, antenatal classes and drop-in groups.
Oh, that's great to hear about all that stuff about connecting and baby's brain development. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think I'm going to get Gary to read to Bump tonight. It'll be an extra incentive.
Fantastic, let's help you up. Okay, it's lovely that you're connecting with the baby, and it's when you get home to speak to Gary.
Yeah.
That would be great. There's a little leaflet for you to take home there.
Oh, thank you. For building a happy baby.
Yeah, it's quite nice that you can share with him and have a chat about it.
Oh, so lovely. Thanks very much.
Okay, there's some other things we need to go through today, but before we do that, is there anything you'd like to talk to me about?
Yes, actually. So I'm sort of wondering about feeding my baby, and no one's talked to me about that yet. I'm starting to get a bit anxious about it.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about why you're feeling anxious.
Well, I've heard that breastfeeding is really good for your baby, but I've heard some scary stories about how it can be very painful and you're never away from your baby. So yeah, I'm starting to feel a bit scared.
You're absolutely right, it is really good for the baby and it's good for you, but tell me a little bit more about the experiences and why you feel anxious.
Well, my mum never breastfed, so I don't know, from her I don't know anything about it. I've got a couple of friends who breastfed, but they didn't have a great experience. They stopped after a few days. Yeah.
So that can be quite unwielding, can't it, with that, knowing all that. So tell me then, for you, on a scale of 0 to 5, if we think of 0 as the lowest score, how are you feeling at the moment about infant feeding and breastfeeding?
So about breastfeeding, I'm probably about a 2,
okay.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, well 2 is fantastic, and it means that you're keeping the door open, and we can talk more about how to get breastfeeding off to a good start. So one of the most important things to take away today is that you don't have to make a decision.
Okay.
When you have the baby and you're cuddling your baby, has anybody talked to you at all about skin-to-skin contact?
Oh, they have, yes, and I do really want to try it, yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. So that's something we can look at when we meet again. So we're not going to make a decision today, and I don't want to overwhelm you with information.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is next time we meet, have a read, you can come back with some more questions, and then we'll build on that information.
Okay.
And also, just down the road, I can see you live near the Children's Centre here.
Yeah.
There's a fabulous little mother and baby group which meets, and you might like to go along to that.
Lovely, thank you. That sounds really good.
In the hospital here we do provide some antenatal classes, and they do one specifically on breastfeeding.
Oh right, I'd be really interested in attending then. Yeah.
Okay, well we'll walk out through reception and I'll see if we can get you booked in.
Thank you.
Although there is a lot of information to get across, it is important to take time to identify individual needs. Asking open questions will provide a basis for women to share their stories. Active listening, exploring, and accepting what she says will show you care about her needs. What may seem like small concerns to you can be a source of worry and concern for her, and accepting this will enable a more non-judgmental approach. Reassuring her that she doesn't have to make a decision until she holds her baby in her arms will keep the door open for further discussions. Finally, remember to keep information relevant and to the point, as pregnant women often feel bombarded with advice from all quarters. Here is Holly McNeish to illustrate that.
Your baby should be as big as a banana by now. Your sickness should calm down now. Your stomach should be sore now. You should feel more tired now. You should put on a pound a week now. You may be more forgetful now. You should think about your finance now. You should consider birth class now. You should book your next scan now. You should start pelvic exercises now. You should clench between each wee now. You must clench between each wee now. You should get the maternity leave form now and fill it in and hand it to your boss now. You should start thinking about names for the baby now. You have to have a name for the baby now. You should decide whether or not you're going to use disposable or cotton or semi-disposable or eco companies' nappies now. You should try to keep the baby happy now. Play the baby classical music now. Classical music will make your baby brainy now. No Mr. Whippy ice cream now. You might have trouble weeing now. It might be hard to reach around. You should pack your birth bag now. You should pack your hospital bag now. You should buy sanitary pads now. You should buy breast leak pads now. You should buy big pants now. I mean really, 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 really big pants now. You shouldn't sleep on your back now or your right-hand side now, and sleep may be uncomfortable now, and you may wake in the night now, and your rib cage may ache now, and your left arm and shoulder blade and leg may hurt a little now, and you may think about buying a sculpted pregnant woman cushion now, but don't do too much, it said.
Full details on achieving the standard are in the Baby Friendly Initiative Guide to the Standards. Baby Friendly's Guide to Having Meaningful Conversations with Mothers talks through how to make the most of your time with a mother and provide effective, compassionate, mother-centred care. The Baby Friendly leaflet, Building a Happy Baby, has more information on responsive feeding and building close and loving relationships.